Hi, everyone. So we're not going to sing. Really, a long time no see. You
Oh,
go.
how are things?
Good, thank you.
So secondary suites, we put it off until tomorrow. Does this mean, a lot of people are suggesting that there might be some play with the opponents, that it's going to go in those 4 wards where there's more acceptance on the field? Feel that way?
I'm not a big fan of this particular proposal. It's clearly a compromise by committee. And of course, I'll be open to persuasion at the public hearing. But if this is a compromise that council is willing to accept, as I've been saying for nearly 5 years, we've been having a lot of trouble making the touchdown pass. We're just moving the ball a little bit down the field each time, and this would be a further movement down the field. And that's better than nothing.
So yeah, isn't that a positive that at least you'll get that?
Yeah, it'll make a difference for some people, certainly. But I think the key issue is actually the one that Councillor Demong raised today, which is how does allowing for more legal secondary suites help with the problem of the illegal, unsafe secondary suites? And the answer is it's a market situation. We've seen it in every other city. Remember that Calgary is the last city to do this, the last major city to do this. What happens is as you get more legal regulated suites on board, then the market demand for the illegal one drops off. So essentially every legal one that comes displaces an illegal and often unsafe one. So it's not automatic, it's not going to hit all 25,000 or however many there are of them, but over time we see these things getting displaced out of the market, and that's a good thing.
Crazy Calgary, I'm hearing that East Village condo with no cars is going to be sold out within minutes of what was on here today. Are you surprised by that?
I'm not surprised by that at all. I am a fan of letting the market decide, and the question I will have for the applicant during the public hearing is, are you really going to sell this out? And what's your pre-sale target before you sell, before you get into the ground, I should say. And I lived for 7 years in Toronto, and I was just thinking in Toronto and Boston, and I was just thinking about this, that for 5 of those 7 years, I was actually paying for a parking stall that I never once used because I never had a car. And so if there's a market for this, and I believe there is a market for it, let the market decide. Why make developers and regulate developers to spend another $50,000 per stall, which adds to the price of a unit, if they think there's a market for people who don't want that stall? So, I'm going to ask them if they have seen market demand, but if they have, that'll be a lot towards me to thinking about whether I support this or not.
In terms of the secondary suite debate, does the province need to step in?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. I will say that in Ontario, that was our experience. That was the experience that most of the cities legalized them. There were a couple of holdouts, and the province at some point said, you know what, we're going to legalize them everywhere. And in fact, one of those holdout cities, Brampton, when they were legalized by the province, ended up having one of the very best processes for neighbor engagement, and they found it a very positive experience. So if the province were to do something like that, we would make sure we'd be ready for it.
As somebody who chafes against provincial interference in the city governments, why is this?
Oh, I like it when they give me money or do things I want.
That's surprising.
No, quite seriously, I'm not saying whether I'd support it or not. I'm just saying that if they were to do it, we'd be ready.
Could I ask about the New Democrats' stated plan for flood mitigation,
Sure.
particularly on the boat? You've raised some concerns.
Yeah, the New Democrats did have a plan. Not all the parties had a full plan for what they wanted to do. As I've said, I really, once the dust has settled a little bit, I really want to sit down with the Premier and the new Minister of Environment and have a talk about that plan. In particular, they feel like Springbank is not a good idea. They want to go with McLean Creek. If that's the case, we have to figure out ways to make McLean Creek work much more quickly than what it had done in the past. We have to figure out what the second major upstream mitigation project will be. We've always said we need 2 out of 3. And even if we don't need 2 and we need 1.5 or 1.75, we've got to figure out that 0.5 or 0.75. So I think it'll be important for the new government's Calgary caucus to really understand the nuances around the 3 projects before making any decisions. But once again, I want to move quickly on that. The other challenge, however, is on the bow. And no party, including the City of Calgary, has yet come up with a plan for mitigation on the bow that makes everyone comfortable. There is no plan on the table right now that brings us to 1 in 100 year mitigation on the bow. And that's something that we've got to turn to. Once we've solved the issues on the elbow, we have to put those smart engineers' minds to work on the bow and figure out what we can do there.
What ideas are there for the suggestion box on the bow? We don't, that's outside of the Ghost Lake option, we haven't heard any prominent proposals.
No, there aren't any yet. The focus of the water experts has really been on the elbow and on what we call community level mitigation on the bow, but we need a better plan on the bow, and it's time to work on that now.
Has there been any been done on the diversion tunnel idea since the
Well, we did a whole bunch of work that came out at the end of last year around cost benefit and so on, and there's been continual work between the province and the city's experts since the announcement of the Springbank project on both McLean Creek and on Glenmore, and that conversation continues.
How much have you been practicing your Frozen song?
Nope.
I'm a reasonably fearless guy. I don't mind speaking in public. I like to take risks. I like to cave dive, cliff dive, fun things like that. I like whitewater rafting. The one thing that I am absolutely terrified of is singing in public, so wish me luck over the next couple of weeks.
On a scale of 1 to Adele Dazeem, how you doing?
1 to a what?
Adele Dazeem, Dina Menzel.
Oh, tell me that was funny. Thank you, it took me a minute. Well, let's put it this way. The original plan that I had in my head was to bet Alberta Bound for California Dreamin'. I thought that kind of made sense. And also California Dreaming is a very easy song to sing. And instead we substituted it with a song written for Idina Menzel, one of the greatest voices of our generation, and written in a women's register. This is going to be a lot of fun. Let me say one thing. I'm still wearing my red today, and I'm excited to be wearing my red today. And I just want to say thank you to everyone involved at the Calgary Flames Hockey Club for the most exciting, breathtaking season. I love this team. I know there's going to be great things in the future for this team. And I also want to say a special thank you to my colleagues in the City of Calgary, particularly my colleagues in Roads and in the Calgary Police Service, who helped make sure everyone could celebrate but stay safe and stay respectful. And thank you to all Calgarians who made sure that all their celebrations were safe and respectful. We'll see you next season.
With all that done, do you expect an arena?
Yeah,
I was
great
just.
things, great things.
Did you love the fact that I put that right out there for you so that you could ask? We'll see. Thank you.
Thanks.